the lead singer of Stained, and this was more so in, the late 90s, early 2000s. And over time, I guess you would say it's more of like a hard rock, heavy metal type of music. And eventually he evolved in his style and decided that he was going to go down the road of being a country music performer. And as a result, he decided that he was going to have a much more expressive opinion regarding the United States, support our troops, the whole thing that we went through back in the day when it came to Afghanistan and Iraq, and should come as no surprise. He has a targeted ire that he went after when he was interviewed this past week on Tucker Carlson. Now, look, Tucker, who I appreciate with a number of stances that he has taken over the past several months, and he has really made a tremendous difference in cultivating a substantial portion of the conservative part of America to recognize exactly what's going on in Gaza in particular. However, they decided to go after Bruce Springsteen in a way that to me made absolutely no sense. Now, we'll play the clip and you guys will understand what my issue is here.
Bruce Springsteen? No, thankfully. What do you think of him? I think that he is a disgusting display of not appreciating what was handed to him in this country as being an American, the success that he has had.
Okay, so right off the bat, for anybody who has followed Springsteen over the years, if there's one thing we can say about Bruce Springsteen, he made it on his own. He, in fact, sacrificed so much financially in order to get where he is that anyone who is suggesting that he isn't grateful or not appreciative of how he got there, that doesn't make any sense. The issue with Bruce Springsteen is that he's a coward when it comes to addressing the foreign policy that has been enacted by the neoliberal establishment of which he has become oh so very comfortable with over the past several years. But instead, Aaron Lewis wants to attack Bruce for not being rah-rah American enough. That's the issue you take with him? I'm sorry, but if you're going to go after Springsteen, you go after him because he doesn't speak out about issues that really matter. He's got very strong opinions when it comes to the Donald. He's got very strong opinions when it comes to endless war if a Republican is doing it. But ever since he decided he was going to be buddy-buddy with Obama, his entire trajectory in terms of his activism changed in a very substantial way. It's one thing to criticize Donald Trump. It's another thing entirely not to criticize Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, of which he did neither, in which he just swept all of their indiscretions under the rug, especially when it came to Israel. He's never said a word. To this day, almost 2 years in, and Bruce has never said a word about the genocide. Not a word. Yet Aaron Lewis wants to bash him because he sang Born in the USA. Born in the USA is not only one of Springsteen's greatest songs, it's one of the greatest rock songs of all time, specifically because he was misinterpreted the entire way. Everyone thought that it was wave the red, white, and blue. No, it was to speak out against the Vietnam War and the way we treated our veterans. No one had it worse. Bruce had a friend that he played in his first band with that was drafted into Vietnam, and he was killed. So you can imagine that this is pretty personal for him. But I believe Aaron addresses that a little further.
The fact that he duped us all with one of the most anti-American songs ever.
It's not an anti-American song at all. In fact, it's one of the most honest songs ever put out there into the mainstream. That's what made Born in the USA so great, is because everyone thought it was wave the American flag and America's perfect. No, actually, that isn't what the song was about. And that's why you were duped. And you have a problem with that song? That song is about making sure that our Vietnam veterans in particular were well taken care of when they came back to the States, and they weren't. So you're here to tell me that that's the reason that you're bitching about Springsteen? If you were going to complain about Bruce, at least complain about something that's worth complaining about. You sound like somebody who at one time may have had some talent, and then eventually you just kind of whittled out of existence. You also sound like a jaded lover in many ways. Perhaps Bruce didn't give you the time of day when you wanted him to. Now all of a sudden you're very upset and you have an axe to grind, and you're going to let everybody know, hey, Bruce sucks. Okay, why does he suck? Because he's not pro-American enough. In fact, he's anti-American with that Born in the USA song. Again, that's as good a song as he's ever done. Anybody who even likes Bruce just a little bit would say that's one of his 10 best, maybe one of his 5 best. Certainly, aside from Born to Run, his most impactful song that he ever did. Everybody knows what Born in the USA is, just about. Anybody who follows music. I mean, Jen was fortunate enough to get to the Orange Bowl in Miami during the Born in the USA tour. And I can imagine what it was like. She says to this day, it's probably the greatest concert she's ever been to. And so people clearly misunderstood exactly what his message was then. They still misunderstand it now. This guy is complaining. He's saying that Born in the USA is an anti-American song. It's one of the most pro-American songs you could possibly have because it was honest. It was honest about our war machine. It's honest about how we chew up and spit out our veterans like they don't mean anything. So what this dumbass is doing is not only misinterpreting the song for what it really was, but he's throwing veterans under the bus. He thinks he's more of the pious pro-American guy than Bruce could ever be. No, he is that way in a blind way. He's that way that you will find in evangelical Southern and Heartland America, where you don't question your pastor, just like you don't question the red, white, and blue. That's what he's trying to convince you of. He is without question, doing this like somebody who's bitching about the fact that Bruce was speaking out against the war in Iraq back in 2003. What are you, 25, almost 25 years too late to the party, Aaron Lewis? Why Tucker Carlson is platforming this guy, I don't understand. But this is what I've always felt is the big problem here. If you're going to go after somebody, at least have a legitimate reason to do it. There is no legitimacy behind complaining about Bruce if what you're complaining about is Born in the USA. If you're going to complain about the fact that Bruce is a fucking coward and has been for several years, especially when it comes to the foreign policy that for the most part has been dictated by neoliberalism and the Democratic Party, well, then we're getting somewhere. But in this case, we're not getting anywhere. And we know Bruce is a hypocrite because whenever the Republicans do it, he's at the top of the mountain screaming about it. And when the Democrats do it, he is stone silent, proving what a hypocrite he really is. But this is what you're bitching about? The one thing Bruce gets right, and that's what you complain about? Talk about misplaced priorities, man.
And called it Born in the USA as some sort of celebration of how great it is to be born in the USA. I'm angry at myself for not seeing it for so long and actually giving him, in my mind, the credit of being a representation of blue-collar America.
Am I the only one who quit singing along every time they play a Springsteen song?
You clearly are jaded by Springsteen. Clearly, he must have stiffed you in some way. And then, of course, when it comes to being in favor of the things that really matter, Bruce Springsteen was that guy for many years.